Today, we're looking at the British English accent of Sir David Attenborough.
I am David Attenborough, and I am 93. I've had the most extraordinary life. It's only now that I appreciate how extraordinary.
Sir David is a conservationist, broadcaster, and the voice of countless natural history documentaries, including Planet Earth, Blue Planet, and the Netflix film A Life on Our Planet. He is, I think it's fair to say, a national treasure here in the UK.
We need to learn how to work with nature rather than against it.
Much loved and respected, his voice has a familiar, reassuring quality to it. I spent numerous Sunday evenings as a child watching his animal documentaries, and as he transported me to far-flung corners of the globe. I've often described him to my students as the grandfather of the nation. He definitely has a very special place in my heart. He's so important, in fact, that when I was designing the front cover of my new book, I asked the artist to put his name in big lettering in the center. That's right, guys, I am very excited to announce the release of my brand new book, A Really British Guide to English. It's available on Friday the 13th of November 2020. There's a huge A to Z dictionary of British expressions and slang words. There's a guide to Cockney rhyming slang, and there's a whole section on British English accents. Plus, of course, so much more. It will be available in paperback and as an ebook through Amazon Kindle. Guys, I can't wait for you to see it. As I said, it's available on Friday the 13th of November 2020. The link will be in the description below. Right, I'm buzzing to explore Sir David Attenborough's accent, so let's get going.
Well, I'm very lucky. I live in West London, quite close to a wonderful park, Richmond Park.
Sir David speaks with conservative received pronunciation, or RP as it's also known. Now, this traditionally is the accent of the educated and privileged. It was also the accent of the BBC, where Sir David made his name.
Tonight, we've got a rather different programme for you.
RP speakers put a high value on clarity, making sure that every sound is articulated clearly. Now, unlike other British English accents, it isn't geographically located in one specific place. Sir David Attenborough is from Leicestershire, but you could be an RP speaker from London or from Edinburgh. Now, the first feature I want to look at with conservative RP is that short I sound on words that end in a Y. Now, Sir David says it a couple of times in this clip.
Any predator could attack it, and it doesn't have the speed to escape. Why it comes down in this way is a mystery. Nobody knows. Now he's finished, and back he goes up to the safety of the canopy.
Mystery, nobody, safety, and canopy. Canopy. Now, in other accents, in modern received pronunciation, that would be a longer E sound, so canopy, canopy. But he's shortened it, so it's canopy, canopy. And he does that throughout this clip and other clips later on. Now, this is where we can make a distinction between conservative RP and contemporary RP. Conservative RP is generally spoken by older speakers, whereas contemporary RP is a more modern version and spoken by a younger generation, generally speaking. So you're going to have that short I for conservative RP and the E for contemporary RP. Now, in other British English accents, these sounds are said differently. For example, in Manchester, in a Mancunian accent, they would use that short I sound. So it'd be canopy, canopy. But in other accents, like Cockney, it'd be canopy. It'd be a longer sound. So yeah, this is an interesting divider between British English accents, and this one in particular tells us that Sir David has a conservative RP accent.
Any predator could attack it, and it doesn't have the speed to escape. Why it comes down in this way is a mystery. Nobody knows. Now he's finished, and back he goes up to the safety of the canopy.
Let's get another example.
It is amazing how much the natural world can come into our cities. Most of our cities, thank goodness, have parks of one kind or another.
Okay, so you hear it there? Cities. That shorter I sound. This next sound is not necessarily a different version of the sound, but it's the way that he says it. It's a diphthong and it's O, the O sound. So nobody and goes and no.
Why it comes down in this way is a mystery. Nobody knows. Now he's finished and back he goes up to the safety of the canopy.
Now, the way he articulates that sound, it's very much at the front of the mouth. Okay, now, Sir David doesn't really open his mouth very wide, and that's again a feature of someone that speaks with conservative RP. Generally, the sounds are made at the front of the mouth and it's quite closed. So he says, no, nobody, and knows and goes. So as you see, I'm making that O sound at the front of the mouth. In other accents, maybe you'd have a wider shape in the mouth and it would be articulated further back. So no, go, that kind of thing. So not necessarily a huge change, but just the way he articulates that sound is particular to conservative RP.
Why it comes down in this way is a mystery. Nobody knows. Now he's finished and back he goes up to the safety of the canopy.
This next one is another diphthong, that air sound, air. On the word there, as I would articulate it, it's there. But for Sir David, it's the.
Show people things, as you do so expertly, and suddenly they become aware that these things that they've only seen in picture books or on television are real things, they're living there.
So we've gone from a diphthong, 2 vowel sounds, to a monothong, which is 1 vowel sound. He also does it more subtly on aware. So aware, aware. And he does this throughout the interviews.
And I think what I would say is cherish them and value them and remember them. And let us just hope together that they will still be there when you're my age.
Now this pattern of going from a diphthong to a monothong, or even a triphthong to a monothong, is typical of conservative RP. It's taking many sounds and kind of smoothing them out, as it were. He does it again with the word down.
They're precious, and they become more and more precious as in fact more and more of them are being cut down in order of a quick profit.
Now that's how I would say it, down, ow, that ow is the diphthong. But he replaces that sound with a kind of R sound, so it's down, down. And he does that a couple of times.
During this recent year, months of this lockdown.
Okay, did you hear him on lockdown, lockdown, lockdown? So it's a little bit different. It's a subtle change, but it's definitely there.
During this recent year, months of this lockdown.
The next feature I'd like to look at is the classic one. It's the T sound, the T. And typically in conservative RP, you are always going to pronounce that T sound clearly. Because as I said, the key to conservative RP is to give every sound its fullest form, right? So that T sound, he's going to say it, just here.
The North Pole is actually not land, it's water. Frozen water.
Okay, so did you hear him say water, water? Now, the difference between conservative RP and contemporary RP, or modern RP, is that T sound. In conservative RP, they will always say their T's, pretty much, whereas contemporary RP, perhaps you'll use a glottal stop, maybe you'll say the T, it depends on the speaker. And again, that would be an older generation, generally speaking, conservative RP, and a younger generation speaking contemporary RP. Let's get another example of Sir David saying the T sound.
It's difficult perhaps for people today to realise how little people, public, certainly in Britain, knew of the natural world.
Okay, our next feature is the I sound. Now he says the word happily. Happily. Now it's happily. Now that sound, I've used a schwa sound, but Sir David uses the I sound, happily. happily, happily.
But happily, that isn't the important thing.
And that is again a feature of conservative RP, is keeping hold of that I sound, where in most accents you would use an Now it's on words that end in ILY, happily. You can also have it on words that end in ITY, like possibility, possibility, not possibility, possibility. So the I, not the A word like believe, believe. I said it there, believe, but in conservative RP it'd be believe, believe. So some words take the I sound rather than the sound.
But happily, that isn't the important thing.
One last feature that I'd like to look at is the stress patterns that he uses. Now, Sir David as a narrator is so clear and so precise with his words, and he uses stress to not only explain what he's saying and make it clearer for us, but also to add emotion. And in this really wonderful interview with the children of Prince William and Kate, he uses stress very carefully and very well.
Hello, David Attenborough. I like spiders. Do you like spiders too?
I love spiders. I'm so glad you like them. I think they're wonderful things. Why is it that people are so frightened of them? I think it's because they've actually got 8 legs, but spiders are so clever. Have you ever watched one trying to build its web? That is extraordinary.
So that I love spiders. I think they are wonderful things, but spiders are so clever. That is extraordinary. For me, this is one of the distinguishing features of Sir David's English, is the way that he uses stress to, as I said, express emotion and to identify for us, the listener, what's the most important information in a sentence. And that's what stress is. We use stress to tell our listener what's the most important information in a sentence. Typically, as a rule, we put stress on content words, words that hold the most meaning. Sir David does do that, but he also puts it on words to stress emotion. So clever, right? So clever. He really wants to emphasize just how clever spiders are. And if you watch any of Sir David's programs, you'll hear these stress patterns throughout the show. It's so cleverly done, and it really is a part of why his voice is just so wonderful and magical to listen to.
But spiders are so clever. Have you ever watched one trying to build its web? That is extraordinary.
Now, of course, this video isn't about you trying to replicate Sir David Attenborough's accent in any way or his voice, because it's so unique, but it is designed to help you identify what features he uses, and if you want to incorporate them into your English, that's up to you. But it's more just to shine a light on his voice, his accent, and what he's doing. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember, my new book is out on Friday the 30th of November 2020. I can't wait for you to get your hands on it. So excited. Thank you so much for watching this video. And of course, if you have any recommendations for whose accent I should look at next, please leave it in the comments below. But until next time, this is Tom, the Chief Dreamer, saying goodbye.